Speaker.
Point of order, Michael Howard.
Mr. Speaker, may I thank you for your statement, thank you for the debate, and welcome your decision to set up the committee. You, sir, of course, will readily appreciate the outrage which was felt in all sides of the House over the attack on the ability of one of its members to do the job he was sent here to do. Namely to represent his constituents and to hold the government to account. And you will be aware, of course, that what happened last Thursday was not simply a search of his premises, serious though that was, but the removal of his computers containing his constituency casework, the removal of his mobile telephone, and the disconnection of the telephones at his constituency home. Mr. Speaker, this attack was entirely without precedent and is...
I'm very reluctant to interrupt a right honourable member, especially a former leader of Her Majesty's opposition, but these are things that can come up in the debate on Monday. Now, order. May I just help him? If it's any help to the honourable gentleman, obviously when any honourable member's in any difficulty, I feel it's my duty to try and help as best I can. And with regard to the computer equipment being removed, when I discovered this, then I instructed the Sergeant-at-Arms to ensure that the police had that equipment back in the office on Monday to allow the honourable gentleman to function properly as a Member of Parliament. But please, remember that it's a point of order and not a debate.
Well, so may I ask about the debate? Will you, sir, make it clear that it will be free for any member who takes part in that debate to question the conduct in this deplorable affair of government ministers, of civil servants, and of the House authorities?
It is up to the government to table the motion. I don't have powers to table a motion. Order. Well, I only have the powers that this House has given me. It's up to the government to table the motion, and I have made that clear. And it's therefore, and the terms of the motion will determine the nature of the debate. That is the best I can say to the right honourable gentleman at the moment. Order. I want to take Sir Ming Campbell.
Mr. Speaker, you were right to acknowledge that there is a serious issue at stake here, which is why I would like to ask if you're in a position to be more specific about the remit and the powers of the committee which you have proposed. Surely it will be right for that committee to keep account of the fact that we are none of us above the law, but that principle applies to the police as much as it applies to any of us. What you have said about the absence of a warrant raises a number of very significant questions for the committee, and I'm pleased to hear you say that you intend to produce at your own hand a suitable protocol. But the law, of course, includes not just the criminal law, but the rights, duties and privileges of all members of this House, as evidenced by the Constitution under which we serve. Will you give the House an assurance, so far as you can, that the membership of this committee will be such that it will be entitled to have access to information from every source, government, opposition if necessary, police and indeed officers of the House of Commons?
Let me say to the right honourable gentleman, I will seek to allow a situation where that committee which I have set up will have as much powers as I can possibly allow. And I thank the right honourable gentleman for raising that. And I take it that that's an application to join the committee. A point of order, former Home Secretary.
This isn't an application, Mr. Speaker. But can you assure us that in the considerations of that committee, as well as during the debate, which is to surround these issues, which are grave issues and I think raise concerns on all sides of the House, that there will be 4 principles, not 1 principle, that will be under discussion. The first of those, of course, is the rights and privileges of members of Parliament, but the second is the principle that outside of those particular rights and privileges, we are all, as citizens of this country, subject to the law as well. Thirdly, that whether or not ministers should have been consulted, that the principle of the independent operations of the police is reasserted in all of these, as indeed it was during the investigations into the Prime Minister and his staff. And some of these points would carry a little more weight had they been raised during that period. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the principle of the political neutrality of the civil service will also be reinforced.
Order. I call the honourable member for Ashford, Damian Green.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for your statement and for granting the debate. And can I also thank honourable members on all sides of the House and the very many members of the public who have expressed support for me over the weekend. Can I make it absolutely clear that I believe that members of Parliament are not above the law? And those who have the real power in this country, ministers, senior civil servants and the police, are also not beyond the law and beyond scrutiny. An MP endangering national security would be a disgrace. An MP exposing embarrassing facts about Home Office policy, which ministers are hiding, is doing a job in the public interest. The day when exposing facts which ministers would prefer to keep hidden becomes a crime will be a bad day for democracy in this country.
I'm sure that Mr McShane will have a proper point of order. I'm sure of it.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, sir. Further to these points of order, first of all, can I say that there's widespread concern across the House on everything that's happened? Secondly, sir, thank you for saying from the Chair that from now on a properly executed warrant must be presented to you and it will be your decision, sir, that decides whether the police come into the House of Commons for any reason. We can have the debate on the extent of parliamentary privilege later. Thirdly, sir, as a former minister, the systematic breach of confidence in a minister's office destroys confidence in democratic government, especially when it's colluded and complicit with one of the opposition parties. That too must be discussed. Thank
you. Order. It's not the first time that honourable members have used points of order to seek to get a mini debate, and that's what it's fast turning into. But I will take the points of order because I am aware of the anger that's in the chamber.